In general, north of Kharkiv, in the area of responsibility of the 13th Brigade Khartia, it has become relatively calmer, at least for Ukrainian fighters. This was reported by the representative of the brigade, Vladimir Degtyarev, on the air of Kiev 24. This is due, on one hand, to weather conditions. The snow is melting, it is raining, it is becoming more difficult to move wheeled vehicles. In particular, the movement of tracked vehicles is very limited because it is controlled by both the enemy and us, he emphasized. The speaker added that, on the other hand, this situation is influenced by the moral and psychological state of the enemy, which has deteriorated significantly. In the last week alone, several groups of Russian servicemen have surrendered, practically without a single shot from our side. If we do not take it into account the constant pressure from drones, airdrops, artillery, and the destruction of their entire logistics, we see that the occupiers are ready to surrender, and not only the rank and file, but also sergeants and even one officer, Degtyarev noted. Experts are certain that Russian operations near Kharkiv are little more than a propaganda effort, believing Russia lacked the forces to take the city. Kharkiv is an economic and cultural hub and has come to symbolize Ukrainian resilience against Russian aggression. The city lies some 40 kilometers south of the Russian border at an intersection of two strategic highways running from east to west and from north to south. One links Moscow via Rostov-on-Don to Crimea. Until recently, the city produced components for hydroelectric, thermal and nuclear power plants, as well as airplane, tractor and tank parts. The city is also home to the Barabashovo market, the largest in Ukraine. Increased Russian shelling and the resulting power outages have forced many companies there to cease operating at full capacity. It is unlikely that Ukraine would be capable of relocating them somewhere safer. Doing so would be costly, require moving equipment by cargo train, and take considerable time. Russia has made no secret of its goal to capture Kharkiv. Early into Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev said Kharkiv would be the fifth region to be annexed. A successful Ukrainian counteroffensive initially thwarted these plans, with the Russian army fleeing Kharkiv, leaving behind equipment and ammunition.
U.S. President Donald Trump said Russia could face devastating financial repercussions if it continues war against Ukraine. According to Associated Press, Trump was speaking in the Oval Office during a visit by Michael Martin, the Taoiseach of Ireland. Trump said, "It's up to Russia now as U.S. presses for a 30-day ceasefire in Ukraine, and hopefully we can get a ceasefire from Russia," Trump commented during an extended exchange with reporters during an Oval Office meeting with Martin. "And if we do, I think that would be 80% of the way to getting this horrible bloodbath ended." The president again made veiled threats of hitting Russia with new sanctions. "We can, but I hope it's not going to be necessary," Trump added. Russian President Vladimir Putin has repeatedly ruled out a temporary break in hostilities, saying it would only benefit Ukraine and its Western allies by letting them replenish their arsenals. He has insisted Moscow wants a comprehensive agreement that would ensure a lasting settlement. The Kremlin responded cautiously to the news of Ukraine accepting the U.S. proposed truce during Tuesday's talks in Saudi Arabia, saying that it needs to know details of the discussions before expressing its view.
You said earlier that it was now up to Russia in terms of the ceasefire.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can do in terms of pressuring Russia or in terms of
Yeah.
sanctions? Or what can you do?
We can, but I hope it's not going to be necessary. Sure, we can pressure. What I did to Russia was very tough. I was the toughest ever. But nope, they never took anything from me. They took them from Obama and Bush. But yeah, there are things you could do that wouldn't be pleasant in a financial sense. I can do things financially that would be very bad for Russia. I don't want to do that because I want to get peace. I want to see peace, and we'll see. But in a financial sense, yeah, we could do things very bad for Russia. It would be devastating for Russia, but I don't want to do that because I want to see peace. And we're getting close to maybe getting something done. We've got Ukraine done, and as you know, I've always said that Ukraine might have been the more difficult party. You were here a week ago when some interesting things happened. I had somebody that didn't seem to want peace. Now he's agreed to peace.
Do you have a meeting with Vladimir Putin scheduled?
I won't comment on that, but we had a great success yesterday. We have a full ceasefire. If it kicks in, we have to see. It's up to Russia now. But we've had a good relationship with both parties, actually, and we'll see. We'll be knowing people are going to Russia right now as we speak, and hopefully we can get a ceasefire from Russia. And if we do, I think that would be 80% of the way to getting this horrible bloodbath finished. It's a bloodbath is taking place over there. On average, 2,000 to 3,000 young people a week are being killed in that stupid war that would have never happened if I were president. There are things you could do that wouldn't be pleasant in a financial sense.
You spoke to Vladimir Putin for quite a while.
Yes.
So I want to know your assessment. When you take this deal to him now, how do you assess the chances of Putin?
I have no assessment, and I don't go by chances. I think it makes sense for Russia, a lot of downside for Russia too. And we have a very complex situation solved on one side, pretty much solved. We've also discussed land and other things that go with it. We're not just doing it and saying ceasefire. We don't know what's happening. We know the areas of land we're talking about, whether it's pulled back or not pulled back. We've discussed a lot of the details of what has to go because we don't want to be wasting time. I had somebody that didn't seem to want peace. Now he's agreed to peace. So we'll see what happens. I hope he's going to have a ceasefire.
You are using the American leverage to get a lot of political issues.
Well, I don't want to get into that, but if I had to, I'm the only one that's dealt with them successfully. Everyone else, I went through it, had tremendously bad luck. I thought they had a very good lawsuit, but they lost.